And with me right here, I've got some very talented people. I've been having a conversation with them before we got live, and I just told them that, I love the way actors, stroke directors, stroke videographers, stroke cameramen, I just love how creatives think. That's why they're called creatives, right? I would think that way. But yes, let's get right into it. I've got Ngatia and Noel, two very fantastic. You're an actor.
Yes, I am.
You've been doing it for a while.
Yes.
And you're amazing at it.
Very.
I love it. And we've got Noel, who is a screenwriter. He's also behind the camera. And yeah, you've also been doing this for some time as well. And you've got a very exciting project, which you're here to tell me more about.
Yes.
So take it right away. Before I spoil it for you, it's better if you guys do the honors and tell me about your special project, which I'm very excited to watch.
So we're here because of our film that we released a couple of weeks ago. It premiered on the Nairobi Film Festival.
Amazing.
And it's up now on the Nest Collective's YouTube page. It's called The More Things Change.
TMTC.
Yes, TMTC for short. It started as a working title. Then we were like, you know what, let's just stick with The More Things Change because of something I guess we will talk about later on.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a triptych of 3 short films so spoiler alert late. It's a triptych of 3 short films that are stitched together using one character, and it's without giving away too much, it focuses on the systems that kind of has kept Kenya in the loop that
So
many
politics,
Kenyans
I'm
don't
guessing.
like.
History, a little bit of history.
Yeah, politics, history. I'm not going to use struggle, but what's a struggle synonym?
Why would you do that?
Hurdles, challenges,
yes,
setbacks.
Overcoming of hurdles and setbacks. Yes,
Okay.
and that cycle of why we feel like we keep finding ourselves in the same place.
So the full 360, that kind of a thing.
Hence, the more things change.
What's
Interesting.
really cool is that it looks at them, investigates them in 3 different timelines.
Wow.
So one happens in the past, another in the present, and another in the future. I also didn't know what a triptych is and he's just dropping the word.
Yeah. I think I need my dictionary.
So it's 3 different timelines.
Okay.
So the 3 parts of the film focus on the different timelines. The one character he's mentioned is present throughout those. But my favorite part is that there are so many amazing actors that we usually don't get to see on one, especially younger actors.
Right.
We don't get to see on a single project.
Okay. You brought them all together.
Yes.
And you've named the film TMTC.
TMTC.
I think it's really cool though. I wouldn't lie, because it has a ring to it. Because when you hear TMTC, you're like, wow, that's very interesting. I want to know what it's about. And I like that it's a very strong, it's a very powerful storyline, because things like politics and things like struggles or setbacks and things like history, these are very hard topics, right? And the millennial of today is not somebody who would like to watch this in a normal world, right? But you're putting it into a movie, and of course you said young actors are a part of this movie, so that means that your target is the younger audience. So is this something that you had in mind when you were getting the young actors, or did you want to target a particular a very specific audience?
Well, for sure different people would receive it in different ways, and we've got that from the initial feedback. For sure the target audience was Kenyans, for Kenyans.
Yes.
We've heard from the older generation, when they watch the past part, they're like, oh, it's so nostalgic, because they're remembering things. And for people like me, for example, as much as I was part of the film and I saw things, I'm still learning things from the past section that I didn't know about presently. And it was very cool, because like a whole host of people, this film didn't happen how films traditionally happen, like where people have very rigid roles in their particular, what they need to do. Particular
characters.
Yeah, and even in crew wise, this is your job, this is what you fix. It happened very cool in a wider sense, and so you were able to not have a hand in certain parts of the thing and still discover new things about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Ngatia, you've been doing this for, you said 5-6 years.
Yes,
the acting part, and predominantly theatre, as you mentioned. This is your first feature film.
It is.
And how did that make you feel? When did you decide that, it's time to try something else?
Well, I'd been hoping that it would come my way.
Okay.
My vision board and all that. Well, I don't have a physical vision board, but it's something I was like, so I need to be on screen, film-wise and on TV as well. And I felt like I'd done enough work. Like theater is a place where you really develop
your skills as an actor. You perfect your skills.
And a lot of my peers were also getting a bit of success around. And it's strange because it's sort of, I think the pandemic contributed to me being on it, because when I got the call to audition and I sent an audition tape and all that, if we were not in lockdown at that time, I would have been busy doing a theater show.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so it was all kinds of mixed feelings. I was really excited to jump on this project.
Yes.
First, because of the people who were doing it. I've been a fan of the work the Nest does.
Right.
And even them as individuals. Actually, being on set with the directors and
the whole
Noel, be like, but I know you as a musician and I know you as a DJ.
And
but
here you are.
You are doing this really cool thing.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, there's a lot of anxiety because this is totally new space for me. I'm used to performing with an audience right
new
there.
waters.
I can engage that. Had to wait a whole year to see what the performance looks like. So yeah, it was a lot of anxiety, but also excitement and being surrounded by cool people. There's an energy there that I don't even think has a word for me. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm very interested to know about the Nest because I've heard about you guys and I've seen the kind of work you do, and it's so nice because it's full of, you know, it's an atmosphere with young people, right? So how did the Nest come to being, and you know, what was the idea behind the Nest?
And
that's a very interesting name, so that's the third question, which you can also answer.
Why the Nest? Well, I might not be able to answer why the Nest because I joined them 2 years after it had formed, but it's a collective of artists and some who've plugged in and plugged out. But it started in 2012, and it's a multidisciplinary artist collective.
Okay.
So we've been fortunate enough to be able to do to create works in different mediums. A bit of literature, a bit of TV, a bit of film, music, DJing, events also. And so it feels like after every while we try testing or trying a go at something new that we feel Nairobi may need.
Interesting. So I like that. I like that it's very diverse, but at the same time, you know, regardless of how diverse it is, you're really good at what you do because you put in your 200%, and we can see it right on screen as well. So it's very notable. Noel, tell me about some of your previous works, because you mentioned that, you know, you've done a lot in the past.
Yes.
So award-winning stuff as well, stuff that's been nominated. So how's the experience been? How's the journey been?
It's been super interesting because even though I've been there for majority of the time it's been alive, I think next year or this year will mean it's been around for 10 years.
Okay.
So I've been there for 8 of them, but I still feel like I'm someone who was a fan of this thing and was able to plug in.
Yes.
I plugged in. I want to say I think the most successful thing that Nest did was the 2014 film called Stories of Our Lives that premiered at Toronto International Festival. We've had more films that have premiered in like Rotterdam International Festival.
Wow.
We made a book in 2016 called Not African Enough that was about African fashion designers and what it means what does African fashion mean, or what does it mean when something is considered not African enough, because we have the whole idea of, you know, Kitenge is considered African.
Yes.
But what exactly is Kitenge wax print and where does it come from? Okay, so you guys can go into that. We did Tukomacho also in 2016, which was this web series about someone who was done wrong by the state, and so he felt like he couldn't achieve justice using the right channels, and so he became kind of like a vigilante.
Okay.
We did a film called Tapi, which kind of focused on like African religious practices that are kind of being wiped away, and kind of asking the question, what does that mean, and like not for us now, but even us in the future, because the world is changing and our position as Africans, Kenyans is, you know, it's a contentious thing. Music, we've done a few albums. We've done an album and an EP the album is called Sweet and Sour. The EP is called Blue Ticks and Kisses, and the Blue Ticks and Kisses one, we really let ourselves go and we're just into our feels about how Nairobi can be a melting pot of you know, it's
different cultures, and of course,
and finding it very hard to find love. And what does love mean? We in 20 I'm not sure which year, but we realized that most of our male members in the collective were the ones who were kind of the forefront of technical stuff, and we kind of dedicated a certain project for the female members to kind of spearhead, which manifested in this event called Strictly Silk, which was a female-only event, so female-only DJs, patrons, and only women could attend.
Amazing.
And that's why I don't even know when it started, because I haven't, like all male members haven't been able to, so we just do support in the background, like that's for y'all. So
nice.
Yeah, that's
pretty impressive CV. Hired. Got the job.
Thank you very much. Start on Monday?
Yes.
Cool.
I'm ready. We'll give you your first paycheck very soon. So Ngatia, you tell me about your journey in the industry. You mentioned that you've predominantly been in theatre. And how would you really differentiate theatre from screen, and what do you like more now? Now that you've had a taste of both worlds, how's it been for you? And maybe you can take us through your journey in the industry.
Oh, mine is, well, not as accomplished, but a bit as complex.
Please just remember us for a group.
Because theatre, when I talked about it, was from the acting perspective, but I also write. And I have written for Theatre One. So there's a show that we've been developing for the last 3-4 years, from 2017, called Too Early for Birds, that retells Kenyan history in a more youthful and funky way. And we've done 5 editions. So we we've featured stories about people like Paul Ngei, Wangari Maathai, Field Marshal Muthoni, which we did in our 3rd edition, which I think is really cool, because it also like all female project. So the researchers, writers, directors, actors, everyone was female. So we had Zarina Patel's story, and it was really cool to have Zarina Patel and Field Marshal Muthoni, who was the highest ranking Mau Mau leader to make it out of the forest, at the Kenya National Theatre, watching their stories happen. And then we did one about the history of Kenyan crime, especially in Nairobi, and the last one we did was on the life of Tom Mboya and his assassination. So for that, I'm in the acting team, but I'm also in the writing team and in the research team. But I also write for TV. I've written, I've been part of the team for 2 shows. One is called Suna Journey, and another one is called My Empress. And before that, I also did something that was somewhere in between theatre and literature, because there's this story by Ngobi wa Thiong'o called The Upred Revolution, that was being translated. It was part of a project by Jalada Africa to make it the most translated short story in Africa.
Interesting.
Which it is now, in over 100 languages. And we did a performance of it in 8 languages in 2016 and 2018, and I was the director for that.
Lovely.
So I shift around a lot. And I spent a bunch of time in advertising, so I've done some copywriting and all that.
Jack of all trades, both of you. Seems like it, because you do a couple of things, a lot of things. You've mentioned that you don't just act, you do other things as well. So do you think that this is, I feel like it's a new trend, that an actor cannot just be an actor alone? He wants to, be in these different dimensions, and he wants to live not just solely as an actor, but be out of the, not box themselves. That's what I think is the right way to put it. Do you think that's how it is, or just do you think that, I feel like now as an actor you don't make enough money, so you need to do other things?
It's both. It's both. We don't make enough money. We need to talk to guys in finance. So there's that, where you have to supplement what you're getting in one department by doing other things, but creatively as well. I feel like we're in an era where we're no longer satisfied in just being limited
boxed
in that one thing,
exactly.
Right? So even when you're making a living out of that thing, you also
still want to venture into new waters and do different things.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if you're interested in storytelling. You realize when you're one part of storytelling, you really want to
experiment with the other parts.
Yeah, so you want to write, you want to be on camera. Noel ended up behind the camera, but he started in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Oh, you were an actor?
Yeah, for sure. I was an actor, and I still do have ambitions of going back in front of the camera.
Okay, amazing.
There's something about it that you lose. But to answer your question, I wanted to say that, it feels, I have like a two-part answer, where it feels like it's a very Kenyan thing to need to have multiple hustles that you can do, and it's not necessarily like skewered toward the art scene, because as much like people in medicine, people in architecture, like it feels like the way our society, economy, whatever thing is set up, people can't, we don't have the framework to be able to support ourselves in a way that we feel we would like to be, having a single passion
you're comfortable
or craft.
And you're content with one job.
And it's actually unfortunate, because even getting base things, it feels like you can't get.
And in the West, I feel like it's very different.
Exactly.
Because actors are making money, a lot of it, taking home big paychecks just through acting, solely by being an actor. But here in Kenya, it's very hard to see an actor only acting.
Or doing one project and being sorted for
for a while. Be comfortable where they are.
But still, to reiterate what he said about the era thing, it feels like we're getting to a place worldwide where we're realizing that these ideas that we used to hold in the past, that your identity is very close to your profession, that's not holding true anymore.
It's a movement, I believe.
Because the age of the polymath is back.
Absolutely. Me as well. Like, I'm on news, I'm a dancer, I'm a content creator. I used to be on radio as well. So like, I feel like I want to act at some point. So
like having the ability not to hold
your next movie. This is me auditioning.
And I know you have it in the family as well.
Bro, I got the job, you got the role.
I got the role already?
Already.
Okay, good.
I feel like an exchange happens.
This is nepotism going on here.
And she got the role.
I got the job, she got the role.
No, but like, I feel like, yes, you're right. It's a generational thing. And I feel like it's only going to move upwards from here, because there'll be a point where, somebody in the maybe 2030s will be able to have 5 jobs at the same time and be very happy with doing all of them and not get burnt out and fatigued, because I feel like you just want to keep stimulating yourself by doing different things. And
the employer, even like like we get our culture where we can trust that people can shift from job to job. You don't like, so you had a track record of being this because you've been.
You can't do anything
you can't do this and not believing in. All those things are slowly like breaking down.
Interesting. I like that. We are breaking stereotypes. I feel like this generation is doing the most in terms of breaking stereotypes.
Like if Gen Zs are surprising us, I can't imagine what like the next ones are going to be.
Can you imagine?
Like we're going to be wow. How
it's going to be crazy.
But the generation before each generation really helps break apart. We had to rebel and be like, okay, I'm not going to just
make
be
way
a
for the generation to come.
Actually, the number of trained lawyers I know who are now just writers and actors.
Because I think ours is, I'll do this thing, I'll get the degree for the parent, and then here I'm going.
That's what I did.
Right? Yeah, you see?
I was a microbiologist.
No way!
Yeah, that was my first degree.
Oh wow, this past year must have been very interesting for you.
And then I changed to journalism.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
See, so that, and then the guys behind us don't even bother doing the microbiology.
Exactly, Then they're like, we're not doing it, we're doing partial.
I don't know what we want to do. Very true. Ngatia, tell me more about, I feel like the Kenyan acting scene. We've seen a lot of potential these past 2 years. We've seen our movies go on Netflix. We've seen our movies go on Showmax. We've seen a lot of content coming from Kenya internationally, which I think is a great thing, because it's a revolution which was needed. There was a point where everyone kept asking, when will a Kenyan movie be on Netflix? When will the world get to see what Kenya has in store for the world? Do you think it was something that happened by luck, or do you think that we are headed in the right direction when it comes to filmmaking, directing, and acting? I'll ask you the same question, because I know you'll also have a different answer.
Oh yeah, I have things to say.
I think it's just beginning.
It's just beginning.
It's an unstoppable storm, right? So there are a lot of things that are in disarray and are not working, but we're not going to focus on that in this answer.
Yes. Let's focus on the positive.
Oh, the positive. The biggest positive is the talent, the people. We have immensely gifted people who've been putting in the work for years, right? So you see people on films that are now making it on Netflix and all that, and you look at their catalog and they didn't start acting last year.
Yeah, of course, someone like Sarah Hassan, you know, Nick Mutuma, these guys have been doing it for 10, 12 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now is when they've made it on Netflix or Showmax.
Yeah, or Showmax. You have Crime and Justice that just
absolutely.
I mean, sweeping like a whole crop of actors with it. But what I really love, that's in these complain over and over, is like, why is it the same 5 faces that we see on screen?
We'll also answer this question because I feel like it's one of the most asked questions by Kenyans on Twitter. KOT, they have an answer for you today.
So there's 2 sides to it. There's one, if someone has already made a name and you have a project as a producer that you have to make money back for, you're going to go for the person who you know is guaranteed to bring people to watch.
And will bring back the money.
Yes.
Bring the returns.
Right? Yeah. So there's that. But then on the other hand, there's a lot of actors who are doing work in the background who hadn't gotten to a point where they get leading roles yet.
Okay.
And now they're there. And we're doing like Nyawara, for example, in this film, who's the main actor, who's the principal character in this film.
Yeah.
She is this explosion of a talent that needs to be plastered across all the screens, but we haven't seen that yet. This is a start, and I'm sure the future for her is
very bright.
And you see the people in supporting characters around. Melvin Alusa has been doing so much work
in the lead.
In the lead,
and now here he is playing a supporting actor.
But
lovely.
he also hasn't gotten his maximum potential as a lead. Right? You have Michelle, who's a supporting character in this film, but is now a lead on a Showmax show.
Famous, right?
Right. You have Mercy, Mutesia, who's one of the lead characters in the film Abel Mutua and Philip TV dropped recently. So it's people have been working for so long, and then suddenly there's an explosion.
They're seeing the results.
Yes. And people are also tired of waiting for the government to come in and save us. I think we need it, but we figured out it's not really going to happen the way we wanted for it to happen.
It's time to take matters in our own hands.
So people have taken matters in our
and we'll
hands.
Create jobs for ourselves.
Yes. So we're funding our projects, we're writing them, we're acting in them, and we're pushing, and they're available on YouTube for free. So you can watch them.
Okay, love to hear it. Now, what do you think? Do you think that this is a movement which cannot be stopped, and as he said, it's just the beginning, or do you think there's still a long way to go?
Well, for sure, I feel like I'm a very jaded human being. I will just kind of preface this with that, because for sure we do have the talent has been here. The people we've seen in person, like performing, and you're like, wow, this you can tell why it's Oscar worthy.
Yeah.
But by virtue of being a third world country in the internet age, like we find ourselves comparing ourselves to
to the West,
the East, the everywhere, and it's sometimes it feels I don't want to say unfair, but we find ourselves really trying to compare ourselves with people who have systems that do work. And I love Netflix.
Okay.
I love Netflix, but I always feel a bit iffy feeling like Netflix is I don't want to say
the epitome.
The indicator.
Or even just an indicator, because Netflix alone, when you look at their stories in other third world countries, even their own home countries, it's a bit contentious with how they treat content and the parameters that they use to acquire content in a particular region. When I think, for me, the thing, for example, I can say like really made me feel like we've made a stride is, for example, I feel so bad I don't know the title of the film, but Abel Mutua, the Philip TV
Grand Little Lie.
Grand Little Lie that premiered recently. It stars Michael Munyoki and Mercy Mutesia, who are wonderful people who've been in the industry for a long time. They're the leads in that film. And what Phil and Abel were able to do was they created an online platform. They were able. It was kind of
And then you pay a certain amount of money and then you watch the movie there.
And so like...
And I feel like that's very nice because that's by Kenyans for Kenyans.
For Kenyans, yes.
And I'm like... the middleman.
Because Netflix is cool, we love it. We want to be alongside Hollywood movies, we want to be alongside Bollywood movies, but at the same time, that's, I feel like, with that happening and off camera, Ngatia was just informing me that Njugush was able to successfully do something quite similar, and I'm like, that's what gives me hope. I'm like, when we see us being able to cover everything, including the back end, it means that we can actually own ourselves, like the whole thing as a whole, and not, you know,
rely on the West.
Netflix will keep their data,
Netflix,
and I'm like, and like we might say, oh, data, but like data has its things. That's why they're holding it so close to their chest. Sometimes it doesn't. It's not about just the money, but it's how you use this thing to be able to make better stuff.
Interesting.
So yes, I really do feel like it's unstoppable. We're getting there. We've been getting there. Since Akina Wanurika Hugh doing her first movie, the Bomb Blast one, and look at where she is. Since Lupita was here doing Sugar in conjunction with MTV. Look where she is. Like we have the people are here, the people. This country in particular has kind of been cited as a place where international productions have felt they can come and plug in. Because they came in, so we have the crews, we have the equipment, we have the people, we have the...
Yeah, because the show on Showmax, Crime and Justice, is actually produced and directed by a German. Is it? Isn't it?
I know. I don't know where he's from, but I know he's kind
from
of
Germany.
He directs,
I believe so.
But I appreciated, at least in season 1, he was kind of the director for the first couple of ones. Then it kind of went to Kenyans.
Yeah, you have
the AD started doing it. Likarion came in,
who's a brilliant,
and I was very happy about those things.
He handed it to Kenyans.
And I was like, that's so cool.
Because it just goes on to show that you know we have the people here. We are able to use this manpower, and of course, like we don't need creatives to come from abroad to create a good movie. I like that you mentioned that there is always this comparison between the East and the West and Kenya and our film industry compared to Hollywood, for instance, or Bollywood. There's also one thing that everyone keeps saying. They keep mentioning that why is it that Kenya is not able to produce XYZ amount of movies compared to India or compared to the States? Why is that so though?
Do you have an answer for this? I have a half answer.
Go on.
Okay.
Is it something to do with resources, funding? What do you think the issue is?
Apparently, and this I think we were in an argument with someone about why Nigeria, like why the music,
Nollywood.
It's not just the TV, but
the
also
music as well.
Like the art scene was super toured. It has its own issues. Nigeria as a country, kind of like ours, but I was wondering why we kind of felt stunted. And I was told there was a year when the year of the coup. Moi kind of gave a blanket order whereby people, like many works of arts were kind of curbed, and it was from his fear that the coup might kind of stir when you let
so that's why the production stopped.
And it feels like from that year, because of the curbing, like we lost a lot from that, and we started consuming a lot of outside content, and then so that's why right now we're still doing good. We have history.
I feel like there's been a big improvement though, because the past 3 years, even though we were in the middle of a pandemic, I really see Kenyan movies out there, which is a good thing.
There's a cognitive shift that has happened where we've stopped. A lot of people have stopped thinking about the stories coming from outside as being superior to Kenyan stories.
Exactly.
And it's still happening. I hope
there's a shift in the mindset. I feel like there's still a long way to go. But what needed to happen is that we as Kenyans needed to accept that Kenyan movies are good quality movies.
Yes.
Right?
Well,
made by
they are. That overcoming that thing, I don't. It's a continuing. It's a mindset.
I feel like it's very psychological because at the end of the day, when you go home from a long day at work, you just want to go and watch a movie from the States because you think you're going to 100% enjoy that movie. But at the back of your mind, you're like, if I watch a Kenyan movie, I'm not sure if I'll enjoy it 100%.
And that's the thing as well. So we have to stop being scared of sucking at stuff because all these industries that we are compared to had to come to terms with the fact that we're not good at the moment, but we're just gonna keep doing it until we're really good.
Keep getting better.
So if you remember the old Nollywood movies where a ghost would check
look like an actual pixel,
it's like you're dead, bro.
Or even Bollywood movies, they're very similar. Let's be honest.
Right? Yeah. And
from back in the day, not
today. From back in the day,
yes. There's a change.
You watch Hollywood films from the silent era into the 40s and the 50s. It's like, they're still figuring things out. They have people like Alfred Hitchcock, but they're still figuring things out, right? But here there's an expectation both from the audience's side and from the internal side that you're going to make this huge leap from you haven't dealt with a humongous production, focusing on one story, and then you want to make a Marvel film. Yeah, you're going to make a Marvel film on the first try. It won't happen, right? But we've been doing the sucking for a while, and now we are realizing, oh, we no longer suck. Like, we have some of the best crews in the world, actually. I would say that.
World class.
Yeah. The talent, the acting talent is amazing, and people now are going out and doing stuff at a global level and still coming back, like Mumbi Maina, for example.
Yes, she just recently got a role in Matrix.
But a film premiered like a month ago called Nafsi, where she's with Keita Tress and all that, right? And she was in Sense8 as well, as was Polo Gola, right?
So she just came back home.
Yeah, she came back home.
She still came back home.
Polo Gola came back. I mean, he's doing Crime and Justice, but he's very active in there. So there's that switch. Also, you don't have to just make it and go, right?
You can still come back and share your talent with Kenyans.
So now that
because you're Kenyan.
Now that the talent is there, and we're slowly figuring out now the financial side of it, because there's that, right? There was a huge part where it was just artists doing the art thing, but they suck at math, right? So there are people who don't suck at math who are involved in this, right? And we're getting investments, because before there was also, you approach a bank and they're like, I don't know, you're not building apartments, we're not very sure if this thing is going to
the collateral doesn't feel stable.
But we have
I feel like now they're seeing the value. They're seeing the value in art, they're seeing the value in film, they're seeing the value that, you know, film can bring back to the country. So which is why they're willing to invest. Because I know, like, even Kenya Film Commission, they're giving grants now. I just a few months ago I saw this you know, poster. There was a press release where they were looking for creatives and actors and directors to apply and send their movies in. And if they like your work, they're going to give you a grant, which I thought was amazing.
That's quite dope. And on the private side as well, like guys like Hiva are also getting private funding to go into projects that will be deemed risky but are turning out to be really, really, really explosive.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love to see that, you know, there is so much potential,
for sure.
And I feel like we still haven't managed to tap into it 100%, but
it's definitely
we're getting there. It's definitely happening.
Yes,
some movement, and just like other things, it'll take time, but we'll definitely see the results and the fruits of our hard work and labor in the future.
I mean, you're not on a poster yet, so that's going to be a marker.
See, Noel is here, right?
Oh, and I already WhatsApped to him. It's being printed.
He'll sort me out. Right, so, you know, as we come to an end of the interview, you know, the one thing I feel, you mentioned it, and I really like that you spoke about it very openly. You said that creatives were always bad at math back in the day. They didn't know how to do the business part of it, the business element of, you know, getting rich in terms of being an actor, being a director. That's something that was a very gray area. And now, with the right guidance, I feel like we've seen that people can sustain a livelihood from just acting or directing. Do you think, you know, we don't have the right people to advise us? Back in the day, we didn't have people to tell us what to do and how to go about things. And now I feel like, since we're obviously learning and figuring things out ourselves, we're in a better position to be advising the younger generation.
Yes, for sure, because I feel it was very much like a cultural thing, and how we view even like the whole hierarchical nature of the work you do and the jobs you do. And so as times have changed, and it just hasn't affected, I don't like the art sector, like films and stuff, you can see barriers being broken down, and guys are like, just because I'm acting doesn't mean, bro, we're buying the same milk. Like, the economies of scale are the same for a doctor, a lawyer, and an actor, anyone who is providing arts. Because like the pandemic happened, everyone sings along to songs, everyone watches films on the weekend, and there's been a very large disconnect as to why the profession and the particular piece of art there's been like are like kind of handled differently. But like things have happened, people have gotten fed up, people have spoken up, and I imagine it's because it's become easier to communicate in the age of being online, the internet. We're kind of seeing things the same way, and we're just getting to a place of understanding. Yeah.
So and stigma, that stigma kind of just dissipating right now when we introduce ourselves. When I say, oh, I'm a writer, I'm an actor, I don't get the question is like, but what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
Like,
what's your job?
Yeah, so what's your job?
Yeah.
I was like, people now, even when I go back up country, I'm a Shags boy, so I'm from Meru, and I talk to people, they understand that this is a profession by itself, and there's something we mentioned earlier as well, where we have people like you who went into different kinds of training and then pivoted back into what you were really passionate about. So you have people who did accounting but who are now in production, right? You have trained lawyers who are now who are actors, who are writers. So when you give them a contract, they know what they're looking at, right? And when you make a budget and the person who's in charge of it has accounting and financial planning training, it's so much easier to now figure a way out ahead, and we're also breaking this thing. It was like, oh, if you're an actor, then you can't know how to make an Excel sheet, right? So knowledge is spreading all across. So as much as the stigma is breaking and people are not just looking at us like, oh, he doesn't comb his hair, so he doesn't know what he's doing.
It's the little things. Like you mentioned the hair thing, and I thought of Jay-Z and how it's such a conscious.
Can you imagine?
It's a conscious act for him to wear dreadlocks in boardrooms where he's dealing with millions and like
he's a billionaire.
So people,
and nobody looks down at him. People don't look at him and say that you don't know how to do math or you don't know how to make money, because it doesn't matter how you look. And that's a very common misconception, stroke stereotype that we've seen throughout the years, that especially with creatives and artists, just because of the way you dress, you know, you are not considered smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've had Kenyans. We've had a very interesting relationship with like how you present is also is kind of like one of your identities, you know. But
especially with hair.
We can go into many things.
As we wrap up, you know, Noel and Ngatia, what advice would you like to give to budding actors or screenwriters or creatives in general? What would you tell them on what they need to do, you know, to make it in the industry and to grow moving forward?
I feel like I need that advice as well.
Go for it, Noel. You first.
I'll start with something Ngatia actually told me off screen, which is just start and do. Don't try and feel like you're gonna make a Marvel film initially. The small thing, the short film, the 2-minute thing, and that's how you're gonna grow. People are making content on TikTok, people are making content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It's these small building blocks that hone your craft, and everything else will just follow. The people skills, the everything.
Yeah, I like that. What about you, Ngatia?
Mine would be, no one has it figured out. The guys you see on TV doing interviews, they don't have it figured out, I promise you. They have a bit of experience, they've done a bunch of projects, but everyone is trying to figure it out. So you don't have to wait for those 10 years to be an expert so that you can make your first production. Jump into it. However, at the same time, it's not just vibes and chilling. It's hard work. It's difficult. It's a craft. Whatever you go into, whether it's acting or directing,
give it your 200%. It's not going to be easy.
Yes, you're going to be putting in probably more hours than
a 9-to-5 job.
Yes. You and the guy studying medicine are going to be putting in the same kind of hours, and it shows in the end.
Lovely. Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure hosting you guys. Make sure you watch their movie. This is your chance. Tell Kenyans they need to watch your movie tonight.
Please go watch TMTC on the Nest Collections YouTube page. The More Things Change is the name, and please, like, what we'd really like to hear is like your feedback, because we made this film for Kenyans, for you guys. It would be very cool to hear like how the film speaks to you people, whether it spoke a lot, like, it doesn't have to be positive, like, be polite, but it doesn't necessarily have to be positive, like, this is why we're here, like the constructive criticism, anything we might have missed, you know, that'd be very cool.
All right,
The More Things Change on YouTube. It's free.
Watch it. What are you waiting for? This is your chance to go and consume Kenyan content and just be proud of, you know, the Kenyan talents that we have. At the end of the day, it's made for Kenyans. Made by Kenyans for Kenyans. And that's why we're here today also to promote and just, you know, boost this ideology that Kenyans are good at what they do, especially Kenyan creatives, right?
Yes.
So once again, asante sana, Ngatia Noel, lovely speaking to you, and I hope you enjoyed the show. This has been #Easy Friday. We see you, we appreciate your comments, and keep them coming in. Next week, same time, same place, I'll be here with you, and we'll have some more interesting conversations. Until then, good night, take care.